this. I love bees. I just want to put bees in my clothes and have bee time. Not everyone, like some of you, a few of you. It's just a thing. I love bees. No, that's really all I have to say about bees. You can ask.
Hi Josh, I'm a student filmmaker and your work has had a huge influence on me, on my own work, and whenever I'm feeling down I just pop in once more feeling and everything seems right again. So thank you for that. My question is, do you ever censor your characters' actions or dialogues for your audience?
Did you say censor?
Yeah. Or moderate?
Yes. Yes. Partially because, you know, a network or a studio or a rating or something. You know, right now I'm writing without any of those things and it's kind of delightful. But you know going in with format what you can get away with, what you can't. Pretty much every TV show and even movies, while you're making them and writing them, all of you are also making it in your heads the Simpsons or the porn version, like the most, like the stuff you can never get away with is like fills up half your time. But at the end of the day, yes, you have to, you know, try not to censor yourself in the sense of letting an idea go to waste. But every now and then, you just have to say mewling quip and see if it slides.
So I was asked not to tell how amazing you are. So one of the things I really love that you've done is be able to take characters that we love and turn them dark, and then, you know, oh, here's your knife back, you know. So I'm gonna use like Dark Willow as my example.
Yeah.
When can we see something new like that?
Like just someone going dark, or like I myself am going dark. I'm sort of, but it's hard to tell because I'm so pasty, so dark based. I'm not sure what you mean in terms of.
Well, like a character that we know and love, you know what I mean?
Right.
You create that world and then twist it, you know, kind of like maybe like Epitaph 1 and Dollhouse, you know.
We'll always be trying to like slide some of that in, but we're not going to tell you who's going to turn dark because that would be giving it away. Dark Willow has a little bit in common with the heroine from Twist. She will be, you know, a slightly edgier character in that sense, but as for which beloved person that I haven't killed yet has actually become evil until they can cry and be redeemed, I can't say.
Hello, Joss. Thank you, of course. Blah, blah, blah.
This is getting real boilerplate. Where's my praise?
You tell me if this is praise. So, I, like many of us, gain a lot of peace from your work, even though it's peaceful. People who exist in very non-peaceful situations. My question is, what is the world? What is existence? Why are we here? How can I and all of us feel more sane and purposeful in our own lives? And how do you represent that philosophy in your writings?
You think I'm not going to? Well, I'm going to answer that. The world is a random and meaningless, terrifying place, and then we all, spoiler alert, die. We are designed to, most critters are just designed not to know that. We are designed uniquely to transcend that, to understand that, oh, I can quote myself, this is fun. A thing isn't beautiful because it lasts. That what we have right now, right here, has as much meaning as anything we're afraid of. And the way we're designed to do this is that the main function of the human brain, the primary instant function, is storytelling. Memory is storytelling. If we all remembered everything, we would be Rain Man and we would not be socially active. We learn to forget, and we learn to also distort, and from the very beginning we're learning to tell a story about ourselves. I keep hoping to be the hero of my story. I'm kind of like the annoying sidekick. I'm like Rosie O'Donnell in the Tarzan movie, you know, the Disney thing. I'm that annoying. I was like, but Tarzan, right? They're like, no, you're that weird ape that we don't know if it's a girl. So, it is still a narrative, and that is, since we're doing that, from the moment we're alive, the idea that stories that we then hear and see and internalize and wear hats from, and come to conventions about, we all come here to celebrate only exactly that, storytelling. And there will be the shared experience of what that gives us. And it may give us strength, it may just distract us. It may, it can do almost anything. And that, for me, is how we live peacefully and how we live with ourselves and with each other, is we understand our story, everybody else's story, that we're all part of that, and that story is going to be with us and can be controlled by us and can be surprising, delightful, and horrifying, and all those things, but it's something we can survive because, unlike me, you all are the hero of the story. That is my answer.
Hola, señor Whedon. My name is Miguel. I'm from Monterrey, Mexico, and just wanted to tell you, you're one of the reasons I'm a working screenwriter right now. My dreams are coming true. And the question is, we all enjoy and love the diversity you put into your characters. When are we seeing more Hispanic characters, Latino, preferably Mexicans, but Latinos in general, plus?
I'm not actually making anything right now on TV or movies, so I can't be the boss of that. But so can I say soon? I've been knocked a couple of times for my track record in terms of race. And when people have come to me and said, well, you're not really paying attention to diversity enough in your stories and your casting and what you've done in the past, my answer is, yeah, good call. That my focus has always been gender. That's always been the thing, and that's like half the people on the planet, so there's a lot of work there. And but I do think, yes, the landscape of this country and this world and the stories we need to tell is more diverse than what I have focused on. So again, my answer is soon.
Dressed like this talking to you right now.
I think everybody feels that way.
But Lauren, for me, was always very kind of a really deep character who didn't get a lot of notice in the Buffy and Angel verse. I'm very glad when I do this costume to hear great stories that people have about Andy Hallett and when they met him before he passed away. And I was just kind of wondering what was like one of your favorite memories of him. I'm sorry.
No, don't be. Andy was an extraordinary person, and I mean extraordinary like, what the fuck? The first time I met him, really, or he was a friend of my wife's sister, and he would come from Cape Cod, and we went out to, it was like a karaoke place, but kind of fancier. and he went full Patti LaBelle. Including the part where she kicks off her shoes and he kicked off his loafers, and he did the whole thing. And I saw him, and it's one of the few times in my life I've ever gone, oh, I need that character. And because he was so bigger than life and completely bonkers. And so right after season 1 of Angel, and they had the oracles, and you know, we got to consult the oracles because you got to have somebody to tell you what's going on. And I thought, oh, we need something that's more LA. And I love the idea that, you know, the karaoke is actually a window into the soul. Because you hear someone sing and you understand them in a way that they couldn't express otherwise. That's actually true. So to have him be able to read your future and such when you were singing made perfect sense. And Andy caused that in my head when I saw him, because I was just so blown away. I was like, yes, this LA is much stranger than my show about LA. But we did not just hand it to him. He then went through the whole process, and you know, as a dark horse, because he had really never performed, unanimously won the part, and then just kept killing it. Like, he was a force of nature. He's much missed. I'm glad that you are honoring him.
Okay, like everybody here, I'm a huge fan. I came all the way here from Moscow. My friends and I love you a lot. And we were here last year, but sorry about your life. But yeah, I had a question. If you met the younger version of yourself when you started shooting Buffy, what kind of advice would you give to yourself?
Rogaine. You know, I probably would have, just would have explained discipline to myself a little bit. We had a tendency to be up all night figuring things out, and I think I probably destroyed crew members with how sort of my lack of understanding of the nuts and bolts of just getting it done. Honestly, there's not much else I would change. I'm not big on regret. It's not super useful. It's nice to learn lessons, but Buffy was something that I couldn't just explain it to myself. You know, I had to figure it out while I was making it. I had to live it. So I would probably really just concentrate on hair care products. That's how it is. And then some stock tips. And because, you know, I mean, you watch the first season of Buffy, and it's like watching a kid grow up. It's like, oh, they're onto something. Wait, here it comes in. Boom, second season, Angel goes bad. You're like, oh, that's what this is. But I wouldn't want to spoil it for myself. Apparently, we have time for one more question.
G'day, Joss.
This has to be the best
I can do this.
question ever.
I really need some advice, and I didn't know who to go to, so I thought I'll just go to Joss Whedon. Feels like a smart move.
Marry the girl is the only decent thing to do.
So I've been working really hard in Australia for the last couple of years, and I finally finished my very first feature film, and it comes out in October worldwide, and I am super scared and filled with anxiety 24/7 now. So after your first big project, what was the best decision you made, and what was the one thing you would tell me not to do?
Well, I certainly wouldn't sweat it as much as you are, because you made it. That's your job. Everything else is somebody else's. So whether or not it, you know, hits, and you know, that's not something you can control. And worrying about things you can't control is boring and time-consuming. I'm afraid of earthquakes, but I eventually learned to stop thinking about them. See, forgetting. I'm trying to think. The best thing for me was to start something else. To already be in something else, so that when whatever happens with that project happens, I feel like I have enough energy in this other place that I can withstand the vagaries of fate. And whenever I had any job, I was thinking about, I was working very hard on it, but I was also thinking about the other thing, the next thing that I would want to be doing. It's also very hard after you've made a movie to get back into that. Once people see it, you know, it's a very sort of, it's almost a debilitating thing. James Gunn and I, years ago, ran into each other after we'd made our first movies, and we were like, I can't write. He's like, I can't write. I mean, we can write, but and both of us realized, oh, directing a movie had taken that away from us because we were so, like, debilitated by the idea that the person who cut all the stuff that we wrote that was so good was us. And so we felt like, oh, everything's negotiable, and it was a little paralyzing. And for me, you know, the answer is always, I'm a workaholic, so, you know, my answer to you is it's going to be this or beer. I think, you know, a combination of both work and beer, sometimes work during the beer, those are the things to reach to. Just remember that this is the first thing, and start thinking about the next thing. Yeah.
All right, Joss, before you go, there's a little something we want to do. We want to have a special presentation for you. And at this time, it is my honor to bring to the stage our Director of Marketing and PR, and my friend, Mr. David Glanzer.
Thank you, Eddie. I'm here to make an announcement, but before I do, there's a little quick story I'd like to tell. What drew me to my very first Comic-Con back in 1978 was movies. I had heard there was this thing called the dealer's room, and in the dealer's room you could buy movie posters, you could buy scripts, movie memorabilia, and at the convention it had a film room. And back in the day it was 24 hours, and they showed classic films, silent films, current films, and that was something that totally intrigued me. When I came in, I found my tribe. It was like the most amazing thing. But I learned there was a lot more to Comic-Con. More than just movies. There were comic books, comic creators, artists, publishers. And well, Comic-Con was this huge umbrella for so many cool things. And it was here that I not only learned about comics, but learned to love them. I relate this story to you guys because I'm here to talk about Joss Whedon. We all know, absolutely, come on. We all know Joss is an amazing screenwriter, director, and producer of film and television, and he is also an amazing creator of comics. Joss quite literally embodies what I discovered so long ago and reiterate every chance I get about Comic-Con. You don't have to love just one area of popular art. You can love it all, and clearly Joss does. From Buffy the Vampire Slayer to Avengers, from Dr. Horrible's sing-along blog to Dollhouse, he's an amazing gift to fandom. And did I forget to mention my favorite, Firefly? Joss has no fear of creating exciting characters, of creating strong female characters, of creating heroic characters. And Joss also has no fear of killing some of them off. Joss Whedon is a fan's fan, someone who loves what he does and puts it on paper and screen, big or small, for all of us to enjoy. His talent speaks for itself, and it's a testament to his genius that fans continue to not only flock to his current projects, but revel in the uniqueness and excellence of his past projects. Each year, Comic-Con International presents the Icon Award, which recognizes a person who has been instrumental in creating awareness of and appreciation for comics and related popular art forms and bringing them to wider recognition. Past recipients have included Frank Miller, Neil Gaiman, George Lucas, Stan Lee, Ray Bradbury, June Foray, and Matt Groening. It is my distinct honor on behalf of the Comic-Con Board of Directors, committee, staff, and volunteers to add the name of Joss Whedon to that list.